Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. Today is Thursday, free flowing Thursday, and we are welcoming you to our free flowing experience right here at the Ligani Club. Pastor Percival, good morning to you. Stop watching the producer and
Good
let him
morning.
distract
Good
you.
morning to you,
Good
Miss
morning,
Lily.
Lowell. Please stop distracting my co-host. Back in the studio, good morning to you, Lloydie. And those of you who are online, good morning. Well, we're here at the Ligani Club. It's a kind of a cool gray morning.
It's cold, but it
Cool.
it's cold. It is
Well,
cold.
you see, I am dressed for the weather,
No,
so
it
it just
is
feels cool
cold.
to me.
No, man, it
You
is
in your
cold.
shirt sleeves
No,
or
it
lack
is.
of, you must be cold.
No, man, it is cold.
Yes,
Remember, so there's a
finally
cold
Jamaica
front.
cool.
There's a cold
If
front,
Earl
and
Brown
then
is listening to us at this time, he must be thinking we're he must be thinking we're out of our minds.
to say that
That it's cold. We're sitting outdoors. You can see the sun is just beginning to paint some colors on the horizon. But good morning to you. It's also nomination day.
yes, it is
So,
nomination day. So there are 228 persons on either side who are going to be nominated today. And there's an independent running for mayor in Portmore. And then there were a lot of other independents, some persons who were a part of the PNP or the JLP who were not reselected to run. So
so they're
probably
going as
they're
independent.
running as independents.
So we have what, 228
Times two.
divisions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean,
So really of a fact, people should understand that the local government elections is bigger than the general election. It's just one of those awful situations where the tail very frequently wags the dog. This is the dog. In this show, this is where it's happening. By the time you get to the general elections for MPs, members of parliament to be voted in, if you have done a good job with your local government, that's just
sure.
an afterthought. Yes.
But you know what? Yeah, amazingly, it has worked the opposite in terms of
Yeah, the tail wag the
the
dog.
Yeah,
What about the tail wagging the dog
the
that missed
dog,
you?
the dog wagging the tail.
Yeah, this is the big one. Um, it never to be mistaken. But yeah, you're right.
It's causing us $1.7 billion to run. I know there's an argument that is out there that we should just have both of them at the same time. So if you have fixed election dates
Yes. Yeah.
and local government is
Yeah.
every 3 years, then it should happen. But it's an interesting time. You know, one of the things that I've
But it's one of
observed.
the things you would look at, in a properly done reform program. You would look to see what advantages are to be gained by tracking the two on the same calendar. One is less stress for the country,
Tell us about that.
and it costs less, although this is not one of those things that you scrimp on and there is no price. That's too much to organize the selection of your leaders in the best possible way.
That's true.
This is not where we cut corners and go cheap. This is where you put your best foot forward and give citizens the opportunity to participate in the democracy. This is where you really build the democracy. The whole process, the debates, the selection of candidates, the support that you give them, the airtime that you make available to them. Truth of the matter is, even there should be a budget, a taxpayer-funded budget to give exposure to candidates so that citizens can have the best opportunity to evaluate who's coming up, who's putting themselves up. It shouldn't be just left to what a political party can afford or
Or
what a
does.
candidate can
Or who have the more
fund,
money.
who have more money. That's not democracy. Never about who have more money. It really is to get the buy-in and the involvement of the people. It's all about the demos.
The demos, I like
Yes,
that. That's
that
why I
is
said
the word
Democrat.
democracy.
Yes.
Yeah, it comes from
And
demos.
talking
meaning the
about
people.
words,
I know I would wake that up in you. All
talking
right,
about
wordsmith.
words. Yesterday, I don't know who. I think the probability is that a boy would have won the spelling bee yesterday
Mm-hmm.
because I was looking on the field and there were like 14 and there
Uh-huh.
were about 10 boys
Beautiful.
who were spelling bee
Yes,
champions because I was
yes,
looking
yes,
at the
yes.
picture.
So who won?
I don't know. I just know the word that what
Ah,
that
you don't
one.
know. You don't know who
Remember,
spelt it.
no, I don't know who spelled that word. But as you talk about that, that's a notable trend. I picked it up last year because I
The
think
boys are
I
reading
read
and spelling because reading goes right hand in hand with spelling.
right. So
Don't even bother look at spelling bee if you're not prepared to read.
yeah, but it is that's an interesting thing that's happening. And one of the things I also
Girls doing math and boys doing spelling.
no,
Is that what's
I'm not even
interesting?
thinking about that. But what I found fascinating when you looked at the schools that were producing these champions, you see these academies and these
Oh, the private
the private
institutions, the
institutions.
lesser known
Yeah,
horses.
and I found that fascinating. But the word, I
Yes.
mentioned it. You can say that word for me again.
Malafide.
Malafide.
And it's nothing to do with Miss Malahoo Fort.
No, jeez. Malafide.
Mala.
Malafide.
Yeah, bad faith.
Something
Yeah,
done in bad
fidelity,
faith.
fide, fidelity, malevolent.
Okay, I know the
Yes.
mal part, and then you have bona fide.
And then I told you the opposite.
So
Bona fide,
bona.
in good faith.
Oh, so when you say somebody bona fide,
You mean them are the real, genuine article.
okay, isn't it
It's
interesting?
true. They're true.
So
Fidelity.
today is the 8th day of February,
So it is, my brother.
and we know the number 8 speaks to new beginnings. And yesterday I jokingly said to you off air, I'm wondering if when they were doing their calculations as to what day they do nomination day and so on,
Yeah.
if because they were dilly-dallying for such a long time, they probably played into
They box themselves into some inevitable
right.
consequences.
And I'm wondering if the gods are laughing.
Well, let me tell you, there are two things. And you know, Percy, and it's not coincidental. Nomination day is a number 8 day.
Yes.
Guess what is the other number 8 day?
And
Election.
they 2 plus 2,
6 plus 2.
is 8.
Yeah. So they've chosen 2 number 8 days for the elections. Now, one of the beautiful things about this, I don't want to call it numerology, although it is numerology, but in the Hebrew language, and that's where we're coming from.
Yes.
We're not coming from numerology in the New Age kind of, what is it now, non-Christian ideology sense. We're looking at it, the Hebrew language is comprised of words and it's a pictographic language.
Right, that's
in
true.
which each word has a weight in number. If you
Right.
say weight, it means there's a number associated with it. I don't fully understand it. I listen to those who are scholars in the area, interpreting a word by analyzing both the pictograph that goes with it
Correct.
and the number, the weight that it carries. So you don't know the meaning of a word until you've
Yeah.
looked at it in terms of its the value that it has, its numeric value. Thank you, producer. And the pictograph. So I remember when I was looking at the word hate,
Gematria, that's what they call it. Gematria.
the
Hebrew.
You found it.
Yes.
Yes, Hebrew mysticism. So words have weight and they have meanings that come from the natural. So like I know that the number 1 is the weight of God, always. That is, God is always el numero uno. The 3 in 1 comes to 1.
That's right.
Even a triangle, you see it. 1. And then we know the other numbers associated with the creation process. The very good day is number 7.
Good.
the
Complete,
pinnacle
yes.
of his performance as the creator. Number 5, the number of grace.
Right. So all the numbers.
Number
need
6, the number of man.
Right. 'Cause
That's why it's 666.
Yes, yes.
The number of man. It's a man. If you see that, you know.
So it is interesting. I wonder if they understood what was happening.
So this number 8 featuring now in the selection of dates for nomination and elections signifies new beginnings. Now, is a new beginning, even if it's the same party get voted in,
New beginning.
is a new beginning where they have to come to grips with the realities of what's required for this season. And if another side is voted in, is a new beginning. So it don't really matter
Which one are they?
who wins, it's going to be a new beginning. But I had a vision this morning. It just like surprised me. And I wasn't thinking about the number 8. I saw someone known to me. I don't know her political affiliation at all, but I saw her dressed in a green shirt and like track bottoms, like a white track bottom. And she was marching in front of a troop of people, and you could tell that she was rallying the troops. She's actually a physical education teacher.
Okay.
So she's rallying the troops. And as I watched her doing her thing, I got the revelation that the results of this elections will be surprising.
Okay.
That was it, surprising. And I kind of jumped and said to Lowell, I said, but then I reflected and I said, but the truth is going to be surprising either way.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If a new team is voted in, the other side going to be surprised.
The old team stays.
If the old team stays,
It's gonna be a surprise.
the opposition going to be surprised because they are reading the winds of change, and there are some powerful winds of change blowing through this island. What it will change is anybody's guess at the moment, but do not be comfortable. Whatever situation you're in, don't get comfortable. Don't measure the room and buy curtains and choose paint, color, and wall fixtures. Do not be comfortable anywhere you are. It's not a time for any Jamaican to sit easy and say, this day I will go into this or that city and buy and sell and relax myself.
We must say, no, God willing.
Yeah, because God is demanding something of us in this season. 7 o'clock?
7:01 actually.
7:01. We'll take our break and be right back because we have so much more to say.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica. promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Good morning. Welcome again. Ooh, it's getting warm here now. The sun is out and it's golden and beautiful. I think maybe we could plug out the lights.
It was keeping us warm.
All it's doing now.
It was lighting up the place for
Yes,
us.
because when we got here this morning, it was dark. So, good morning again. You are listening to the Morning Connection on Best 100 FM. We are outdoors. We're not in studio this morning, so that's always a source of great excitement for me. I am still like a kid when I get to be outside. It was really cold. I'll be honest with you. If you're watching us online, you will see that yours truly has on a very warm
Having a hoodie.
sweater with a hoodie.
They never tell you
Yes.
that you must wear hoodies.
There, ladies don't wear hoodies.
It caused a gentleman to lose his life. You remember that case?
Yes,
The
I
young
wear it
unit
in honor of
of
the
that
young
young
man
man that
who,
was killed.
yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
my hoodie, I guess, my hoodie look more like the KKK.
Oh.
If I were to put it on, it's quite elaborate. Anyway, it's kind of on the cold side in Jamaica. Nowhere near what our friends in Canada are surviving. It is a foggy 0 degrees Celsius, going up to 6. I just love how hopeful Earl is.
Well, Earl is a good man.
Yeah, he always makes it seem like it's getting warmer. Even though those numbers don't have warmth in them at all. And he's agreeing that number 8 in the Chinese culture
Is what?
is considered a lucky number.
A
Number
lucky-
8 is lucky and wealth for Chinese people.
Okay,
If
so-
Chinese see a house with 8 in the address, they will buy it quickly.
That speaks to prosperity.
Yeah. But new beginnings, and new beginnings are always just such a time of great hopefulness. So, although the results of the upcoming elections will be a definite surprise to somebody, you don't have to be very prophetic to say that. For Jamaica, for the nation, it's always an opportunity to just say we're starting fresh. We're going to get it right this time. You will have candidates who have recommitted themselves in the process of their campaigning. And so, on the day that they are announced as the winner, they should be prepared for you to hold them accountable every day of the year. The promises they've made and the obligations that they've taken on to serve their communities. So, best of luck to the candidates who are stepping into the race. It's a big race, 228 local government
Times two.
divisions. Sometimes in some instances times 3.
Yeah, because
You have independents who are
Right.
entering the race. My prayer for Jamaica is that we will have a lot more independent persons
Emerging.
stepping forward. Yes, that will make the democracy way more functional and way more fruitful, because persons will have to really work to be selected. And that level of activism on the ground will inspire the residents, citizens, to get more involved. This is my prayer for my country. What is yours? I know you have plenty of prayer, but pick one that have to do with politics.
that
What is your
we'll
dream?
we'll have a politics that is really aimed at lifting up our people, and it's not about they don't operate on the double FM. You know that FM?
No,
You know,
what's in it for me?
What's in it for me?
What's in
FM.
it for me?
Which is how we are naturally, but
Yeah.
we need to move beyond that and think about the big picture at all times in terms of, as I said, the 80-20 principle, the 20 things that will affect 80% of the thing. So we need to shift it up another gear.
In terms of the politics, I hope to see the education and experience of our people, the cumulative education and experience being brought to bear on how we campaign, how we select and prepare candidates, and later on, how the candidates relate to the people in their divisions. That's, if I had to break it down, I would love to wake up and check my mailbox and the candidate or my representative
Said something to
has
you.
left something for me, given me a way to contact them directly, something that makes me feel like
You're giving people ideas.
I'm giving people ideas that I'm in their contemplation, because you're serving me. You should, There was I don't recall how I got into this conversation with somebody in the streets of London. Well, I think it was in a cab, because when we go there, unlike America where you rent car with ease, I don't know. In England, they drive on the same side of the road as we do, but I would never think of renting a car.
In England?
But in America, we rent cars all the time, and they drive on the other side of the road. But I would just never think of renting a car. I don't know. Suffice it to say, we were in one of those one of the London taxis.
Okay,
You know the cute,
Hackney.
yeah, the Hackney carriage. The
Yeah,
cute little cars. And I just remember being in a conversation where they're saying that in order for them to get a license to operate in whatever area they've chosen, you have to know the street like the back of your hand. You have to know every address. No possibility of you getting into one of those cars and say an address and they're asking you, how do you get there?
Okay.
You have to know the ground.
That's interesting. That's very
Because
interesting.
you have to know the ground. That's the standard that I want to see
Oh, you mean
in
in
my politicians.
Oh, that they know the
must
area.
know the ground. If it's 20 households in there, they know that it's 20. If
And they
it's
know who live in that
200, they
household.
know it's 200. And they know what the demographics. Who has a question? You must know it. Question for Pastor Palmer. Do you know what is called or used to be called House of Joy? Is that a new church? All right, Earl, you gotta give us the answer for that. House of Joy. And then he's like throwing shade at me. Minute Lawrence, are you going to the North Pole? If the temperature reach about 10 degrees Celsius there, maybe people, the odd ones walking around in shorts and t-shirts. Oh, if it gets to about 10 degrees where he is, some people will take it as a sign of summer and begin to walk around in shorts and t-shirts. Those people are very prophetic. They're begging the sun to bless them with some warm rays. Earl, let me tell you, where you're living, I would only visit it occasionally. And my husband said he would only store meat there. So we won't be living in those kinds of hostile temperatures.
What is
God bless
happening?
you for
We're
being
talking
there.
about CMU.
Yes.
Three named by Integrity Commission over missing vehicles at CMU.
Yes, that's what I was telling you about.
So the former head of the Caribbean Maritime, Doctor, what is happening?
All right, we're switching from talking about our MPs or candidates.
I think, but integrity is a major thing for any candidate.
Yeah.
And what I found fascinating, I'm looking at the persons who are offering themselves to run as councillors, and there's a whole heap of young people, you know.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, I think that is new and refreshing, but I wonder if it is a recent increase in salaries that have attracted those individuals.
Would it matter?
I don't know. No, not wrong with that. That people, I'm hoping that in getting there and doing what they are doing, they are focusing on service. That what can I do to go in to make the system better? Well, bye.
All right. Are you seeing it on both sides? I know you're going to pull up the candidates and and have some comments on the look and feel of the field.
Yeah,
But it is about time that we see
young people.
young people and educated people, not the noisy man who will beat bush for you when you come in as MP and you don't really have to take him seriously.
Okay.
Because too many of the councillors are
And you
just
saw that one with the gentleman who
noise
was at the-
makers.
No, you saw that gentleman. It was this is what we paying 5 million for, and he was there, giving a speech. Obviously, somebody had written it for him.
and he wasn't reading
Oh
it well.
Jesus!
All
The
right.
people
So
on X Twitter had a
field day.
a field day for it, but
and you know that's mean.
yeah, but
It's mean-spirited to make fun of someone whose diction or delivery is not as smooth as the high flyers, but he's doing sufficiently good work for his community to consider him a worthwhile candidate. Because, you know, we are still we're still having relevant conversations about patois being taught in schools, about children being permitted to communicate in the
Mother tongue.
in the mother tongue. So we can't laugh at somebody who is struggling to make a proper English speech. But anyway, that's how we stay. That's why we're not angels, because angels would have just do what the Lord tell them.
I know.
But we up and down.
No, one angel didn't do what the Lord told him to do. That's why he was kicked out. And then he pulled 1/3 of the people them with him. Don't forget that.
Yes, that one angel was specially set to teach us lessons. So he still did what the Lord told him. He made trouble.
But you know,
Who believes that Satan's rebellion was a surprise?
to God?
Yeah. Who believes that? Can God be surprised?
No.
So that angel did exactly what he was supposed to do. Kick up some dust and catch man. We were the ones who were surprised. A talking snake? What a surprise.
Okay.
House of Joy, huge sound boxes for sound systems. Duke Reed used to have them in the 50s.
Yes. I've heard of House of Joy. Yeah. But
Boy, Earl Brown, how old are you? Earl says, the first time I went to England in the 80s, I rented a car and drive from Gatwick Airport to Wolverhampton.
that's a long drive.
But that's also over 40 years ago. My son, so I'm tempted to say, what kind of car did they? Just kidding. My son would say to me, you remember when he was 5 years old and the future, 10 years was like a million years away. He would say, Mommy, what will cars be like in 10 years' time? Still have 4 wheels.
That's what your son said?
Yes, he used to be asking me, what's the future going to be like? What will cars be like? Even sometimes when I would say, you're gonna learn.
Flying cars.
You're gonna learn to do this, and yes, he would talk about flying cars.
Mm-hmm. They're like the Jetsons.
Yeah,
Remember when we were growing up, we had the Jetsons.
Yeah.
And we thought it was so futuristic.
it was futuristic. It still is.
But a lot of things, no. it
But
was-
then you see them.
Yeah, like.
But
car
what does
stock.
that tell you from Ecclesiastes?
Got nothing new under the sun.
There you go. So cars were flying before,
And I
and
think,
they will fly again.
and I think that some people are contending that
Yeah.
on the fire on Mount Sinai and all of that they went up into a spaceship. You heard
Yeah.
that one?
No, I haven't heard that one, but I've heard that it was a volcano, volcanic eruption, and then my favorite is the hologram of the bush that burned and was not consumed.
But
So 5G technology-
was there already.
Been here, done that, ready to make a
All right.
return.
Okay, so listen to this now. This is yesterday as the Prime Minister opened up his thing. As a local government
As he opened up
election-
his thing.
as
What
he
thing did
opened
he
up the
open?
promenade, the Portmore
Oh,
promenade.
Percy. You're so funny on Free Flowing Thursdays.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is urging Jamaicans not to be swayed by empty promises relative to solving their social and economic issues. Whether you're vexed about water, whether you're vexed about road, whether you're just vexed about everything, don't make nobody tell you foolishness that them are going to come tomorrow and solve your problem. Warren Holness, while
So is
addre-
he included in that?
No.
Somebody who will tell you that they're going to solve their problem.
while addressing Jubilant JLP supporters on Jake's Road in Mountain View on Tuesday night.
Is that what's called Portmore Promenade?
No, but he said the
What's
same.
the promenade? You saw it?
No, he opened it yesterday.
So what is it?
I don't know. I just heard it. I just heard the news clip. But he opened.
All right, somebody send me a note on the WhatsApp, on the YouTube chat. Just tell me what is the promenade, and
Yeah.
if you have a picture.
Yeah. And then he says this. He's repeating what he said. He said this on Tuesday night.
Right at the opening
He says
thingy.
this yesterday. It is only when a political party can address anything in Jamaica is by making that economy ground. There's only one government that has ever done that in the history of Jamaica. Holness claim and supporters disrupted.
No, you're gonna say fact check.
When the churn supplied, he continued. Only one government has made the economy grow, and that is Jamaica Labour Party. So he continues. The Prime Minister said that running the economy well the tax revenues have grown, providing the government with the ability to cut a larger slice in its budget for road repairs. And that is how your municipal authority, your mayor, and your council, and the minister of local government can say that because we have extra revenue, this road called Jake's Road, which has never been repaired in 40 years, can be fixed. It isn't a stronghold. Jake's Road is road.
Is a JLP stronghold.
Yeah.
So he's telling the people who are loyal to him to a fault, or loyal to the party to a fault, that the only way they can get their road fixed is if the economy grows, and that growth in the economy has really nothing to do with whatever is happening in Jake's Road, which I know to be a place with all kind of violent explosions.
Yeah. Wow.
Good time to take a break. 7:30 a.m. We'll
Let's
be
see if
right
we can
back.
find this.
Good morning. We are here at the Ligani Club for our free-flowing Thursday morning edition of the Morning Connection, your Best FM family, keeping you company in the early hours of the morning. Jamaica is having some kind of inhospitable weather. The sun is out, but it's still quite chilly. Nowhere near what the you people in Canada are enduring, but for us, it's all relative. We're usually much warmer than it is here. But thank you for the encouraging words, Mr. Earl Brown. Earl wants to know from you specifically if angels have wings. By the very definition, angels are winged beings.
Yeah,
like how a bird have wings.
Yeah, cherubim and seraph.
Yeah, if you say angel, you're speaking about a creature that...
That's the description that is there, because there's one, remember the one, cover.
And Earl, if you examine your shoulder blades, you used to have wings. if you position them just right, you'll see where your wings used to be.
And you know that if you fall and you break your clavicle, which is part of the thing, it's very discomforting. And Michelle, my feet broke her much young.
How does that add to the wing discussion?
It's hooked here. Clavicle, yes.
All right. Yes, there was a time when people flew. A lot more people flew.
It would seem that way, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But while we are trying to figure out exactly where and what the promenade is in Portmore, the Prime Minister have a whole slew of things that you're going to be seeing for the whole campaign. You're going to see all kinds of cute announcements coming. Let me tell you, what Bob Marley said, I'm going to tired to see your face. We're going to grow weary of seeing the face being trotted out. For example, and I don't know if this is the custom, all of the candidates have the Prime Minister in their background, the JLP candidates. Have you noticed it?
Yeah.
So is that standard? Is that how it is with the other side?
No, they just put up the person who is running or the MP in the area.
So this is each candidate leveraging the star power of the Prime Minister to bring in the votes. But let me tell you, if it fails, because there may be places where nobody wants the Prime Minister, but they want their councillor. Do you understand?
But
so it's one of those strategies that can blow upon you.
You know, it happened, they used it the last time in terms of the last election. But what has happened, and if you recall the polls, remember, in terms of favorability rating, he has dropped significantly, you know.
So if I were a councillor, I would say, please don't put the Prime Minister in my background. Let me rise or fall on my own work.
Because the polls have revealed that in terms of the leader doesn't have a significant play anymore. It is people are voting about based on issues
and what's going on in their communities. I pray that it is so. We've been working hard to see that happen.
Because look at this now.
People will be empowered when they see their activism bearing fruit. Yeah. While you're looking for the cartoons, let me quote something from Don Anderson, who was at the Gleaner's Editor Forum, and so the Gleaner has given some time to share what that discussion was about. Mr. Anderson says, there was the feeling nationally that one of the reasons the governing party did not call local government elections earlier was the level of uncertainty about its prospects of defeating the PNP at the polls. So the average Jamaican has it in their mind that we are led by a government that would sacrifice our democratic process in order to give itself a better chance to succeed. So we were overdue for local government elections multiple years. And most of us feel that the reason we were not having it was not because of COVID, obviously not, because we had general elections. It's not because of the lack of readiness with the EOJ, obviously not, because they made themselves ready for the general elections.
And they were ready again. Remember the expectation. Yes. They would have had it and then drop and stuff.
Right. So Jamaicans feel that the government sacrificed our local government inclusion so that they could improve their chances of winning. The pollster said this was not his personal opinion, but what he was picking up from empirical data that suggests the government delayed the calling of the local polls because it was not sure about the level of support from voters. People have said to me, and I can't corroborate it because it is not my data, this is Don speaking, that they have data which suggests that they, the government, are in difficult waters. Can't verify it, it is not my data. The pollster said, maintaining arm's length from that data. But if you're wondering what other Jamaicans are thinking and feeling, these polls, when conducted and when, someone of Don Anderson's vintage and experience, when they speak on it, it can let you know that you're not so far off in your thinking. You're not some crazy person being paranoid and suspecting that, people are conspiring to cheat you of your opportunity to participate in shaping the government of your country. Of course, Don says, which is an obvious point, he says that the results of this election, local government elections, could be, he says, but it is a referendum. It would be a clear statement of people in Jamaica on the Andrew Holness administration in this latest of their seasons.
Okay.
Because if we vote overwhelmingly for change, it means we are rejecting not just the candidate for local government, but the administration that sits above them.
Yeah.
And the reality, and we need to change that, by the way, the reality is that central government wields a lot more power than the local government, and it should not be so. Look at the field of candidates, 228 divisions. That's where the action is. Yet they are rendered almost powerless.
Because
63 people are moving them like puppeteers.
It's
not even 63
because
only the
minister of local government,
yes,
and rural development. Because remember,
and finance would be in it too.
but
holding
remember
the purse strings.
That remember one time, Sierra, they just outlaw local government. You remember I did that?
He did that.
Yes. And then what Portia did when she came back in, she entrenched it so you can't just do away with it, and then put in a system that it could be properly funded.
So all that happened now is they defund it, so to speak.
Yes, so you don't give the people then, like you're supposed to get your subvention, you don't give it to them. You
right.
do anything you want.
You starve them.
You starve them. And you heard that cry like when we're in February, and the guys were saying in December, we have not gotten September, October, December
subventions
as yet.
Yeah.
And it is there, it is paid. And then, no, you would have seen Vex votes to provide route for PNP victory in St. Thomas. The incident yesterday did not do the GLP any favors in terms of Mr. Jones and the liquor man who, the man who them beat. Because after the incident, have him back him gun on the gentleman. This is the man cowering. After them move, two other people jump on him and they could have seen and start kick him and beat him, And the lady had to intervene and say, "We're gonna please." Everybody know him.
All right, so
that's what I was talking
Earl
about.
has sent us a picture. So they were just breaking, they weren't opening it. It was not opening, it was groundbreaking. They were just tapping the soil to start something. So I have to find a picture of this. I see, it looks like it's being funded by Sagicor. Andrew Holness Center. I'm looking at a picture. Thank you, Earl, for sending me this. Prime Minister breaks ground for the $8.4 billion Portmore Promenade on Wednesday. I know the concept of a promenade. They have a beautiful one in Barbados.
You walk up
and of course, everybody knows Coconut Grove.
Yeah.
So a place where there are restaurants and shops and and Portmore is a beautiful location for something like that. Making it into, somebody did say that there's no occasion in Jamaica that don't involve tourism. But a promenade that has a diverse array of eating spots and shopping and a little artsy something, and maybe lots of bed and breakfast around it can make the town become a lot more interesting. I see the producer looking at you with grave concern. Oh, we thank you.
So that is
Let me
what,
see what they're saying
and then
about
he
it.
repeated what he said at Jake's Road. And saying that the economy is doing well, but the economy needs to do much better.
That's what we feel too, that it needs to do much better.
Yeah, but he's saying you can't do anything until
So this is not a government project, by the way.
it's not.
So why is the Prime Minister breaking ground for Sagicor's mega project? What Sagicor is doing here is laudable. Somebody have laudable. I know which newspaper that is. But we need Sagicor to do 10 times more what they are doing. That's the reality. If we are going to catch up for the decades that we have lost, that's the reality. If we're going
Sagicor.
to catch up, we need to be working much harder than we are now. And what is the whole, that is the whole issue of blah, blah, blah. Are you looking at a huge, what's a huge, I'm not even going to talk about it. That's giving it more value than it deserves.
No, Lord.
So this is a Sagicor funded initiative.
And when they're going to start really doing work.
Yeah. But you know, the Prime Minister has to be careful because he's calling a $8.4 billion project coming out of the private sector a drop in the bucket. He says it is a drop in the bucket. This is just a drop in the bucket of investments that are needed to truly make Jamaica a rapidly growing country. What's he really saying? He obviously is saying that the government, well, he thinks the private sector should be doing more, and I agree with them. I agree with that assessment, but you can't, on the one hand, be crowing about the growth, the great performance of, and then say that what the private sector is doing is a drop in the bucket. Prime Minister went on to thank investors and developers for their ongoing investment in the country. I'm trying to see what the concept of this promenade is and how it is going to be a great. Well, no, see, there are some development projects that will promote growth of the economy because of the nature of the infrastructure that you're putting in.
Correct.
And there are some which just make the retail sector look fatter and is just sucking more money out of poor people's hands. Or it is something that a limited number of persons can enjoy because the price point would exclude a lot of us.
Which is what is happening in Jamaica.
Which is what happens. When you put in a lot more hotel rooms, sure, that's big business for the investors, but typically all it means now, you know, is that hotel workers may end up getting paid less.
It does? It's just an oxtail. It's a real. I thought it would mean they'd end up getting paid more. Because I remember I was relating to my recent weekend, and I was talking to this young lady. She works in the hotel and she's grateful. But she says she has her house. But she said, it's not here, so make me get a house.
Right.
She basically said, it's when I go overseas and work, and she does it like for 6 months and 6 months here. She said, that's why I built my house.
But what I've observed in Jamaica, and maybe it's because of the demographics of our investor class or moneyed class, when competition or when the framework is set for increased competition, they cartelize.
Okay.
They don't. You'd think that an environment in which you should have more job opportunities. It means the same pool of labor can shop its. You can shop around and increase your price because whole people should want you. But it doesn't work like that in Jamaica. What I find is that, so you have 6 banks.
Yeah.
The 3 or 4 top banks just plot a course and they all hold to it. We're going to charge fees. Everybody charge fees. We increase ours. Everybody increase.
Okay.
Haven't you noticed?
Yeah, that's true. Except the ones who come in and say, we're not charging fees, and them fighting like crazy
then they fall in line with the others because somebody give them the conversation. I remember when a manager in a blue chip company said to me, we don't leave money on the table.
Take everything.
Take everything for as long as you can. And when the market push you to change something, then you change. And all of them have the same.
Mentality.
Yeah. When an early days in after the telecom sector had been liberalized, I remember having a conversation with a company that I thought was a Jamaican company promoting entrepreneurship and inclusion for Jamaican business people. And you know what the Jamaican manager in charge of the division said to me? We don't do partnerships. If we come into your
You want
business, we
everything.
want to be a majority. We don't. And he said to me, this is our principle, this is our policy. We don't do. As a consequence, a man from Ireland came and took the license
And
because the
open it
local
up.
somebody here that had the resources and had the interest too, they underbid. They never value it as anything.
And look what the Irishman did.
The Irishman
He
came
used it and it became it.
and became global with it.
Because of it.
And whatever you might say about what's happening now, which is just hubris, he started something phenomenal, just
Just by
taking a chance on something of great value in Jamaica, which we here didn't regard
as something.
as something. Yeah. So let's just
As they talk about that,
another conversation, really. But in
you-
Jamaica, all of the factors that should lead to increased competition in other places in the world does the opposite here.
I wonder why.
I
Because they
I
want to keep
really
the money
think-
there.
I really think it's because of the incestuous relationships in
that are-
our moneyed class.
So that is why the government should really be the engine to just mash up everything.
The-
And so
and-
they have
yeah.
to be careful how
Yeah.
they do it. Because you remember what happened in the 70s
What happened in the 70s, Percy?
when Mr. Manley decided.
Other than that, some of us started high school.
Oh,
Like, you never start high school in the 70s.
no, I was too young then.
So what do you remember from the
No,
70s?
with what he did to try to open up the economy, and they said no. Well, there were a lot of other factors there because he was caught in the middle of a Cold War, and all of the things that he was doing. It was excellent ideas like eat what you
Grow.
what you eat and becoming self-reliant and things, because ultimately it's better for you.
Yeah. And now we're at the ultimately, and we're not reaping the it's better for you.
It's not
Because we
better
didn't sow the
for
right
that
seed.
seed.
Let me share with you the concept of the promenade, by the way. So it's a 30-acre site, which will include approximately 300,000 square feet of commercial space. It is not just a development, it is a testimony to Sagicor's dedication to creating a vibrant and eco-friendly community hub.
I wonder where
This
that is.
development is for Portmore. It is for the surrounding communities and indeed for the wider parish of St. Catherine. The development is envisioned as a one-stop shop for all community needs. It will feature, among other things, business process outsourcing space, a medical center, an interactive park, a gas station, and will also see the development of a new 4-lane road.
I'm trying to envision.
It's a good project.
I'm wondering where that is
Where it's
suited in here,
situated.
in
Okay, let's see,
Portmore.
let's see. The project, which forms
Why do I put a
part,
hospital there?
well, they call it a community, what they call it? Medical center. My dear brother, it is part of the Greater Bernard Lodge area.
Oh.
And
It's
it
a
is
land.
tailored,
It's a land. I know where that is.
tailored to meet the needs of the existing and expanding community, with hundreds of houses being developed in the area. Is it part of what our friend was talking about?
SJ,
I think he had put in a bid for that.
SCJ lands.
But did they
Greater
win
Bernard
it?
Lodge.
do that, then they can talk about parish. Because you have put significant infrastructure on the ground.
I'm wondering if they just bought 30 acres of land and are doing it, or they won the bid. There was something.
I know they
I
told
gotta have
bids
to
out
find out.
SCJ
Yeah.
Holdings, Greater
Right.
Bernard Lodge. I know where that is then. Greater Bernard
Yeah,
Lodge land.
but I don't know if this is just private sector energy, putting
in
this
it.
forward as a great compliment to what is already slated to happen, which will be brilliant because that's how our private sector is supposed to
drive
work.
it, you
They're
facilitate
supposed to
it,
see what is happening and step in to close a gap.
or be given the right framework and then develop. And,
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yeah.
well, congratulations to you, Mr. Zaka.
Hey,
the question.
I don't congratulate the princes,
Well, you see, when somebody
because
do
this
good,
is
then
what
the
they're
good-
supposed to do.
you are, you are not.
I have very,
You are not. I congratulate whether
I
somebody.
have. This is where. Listen,
I congratulate.
this is when I say with the cries, you are an unprofitable, you're an unprofitable servant.
Oh my Lord!
You're making no profit for me. You're just doing what you're supposed
so
to
when
do.
do you congratulate somebody then? When they do something they're not supposed to do?
All right, when they go into greenfield
Yes.
and be the one to carry the weight of creating something where nothing previously existed.
Okay.
I will congratulate them because they could have waited and be a follower.
Okay.
You know?
So that is so you congratulate leaders, those who are the innovators.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
We congratulate
You-
everybody.
I congratulate you. I congratulate you
but
for your
no.
altruism.
No,
No,
but-
my
but-
standard high.
All right, but you see
I'm not
that-
saying yours is low enough.
No, I
'Cause
never said that at all.
No, I
but-
said mine is high. But I realize that some things only have meaning comparatively.
Yeah,
So if
I know.
I say mine is high, they will mean that either yours is higher
or
it's low.
lower. No, but
But it's beautiful to have that spirit to
No, but-
congratulate everybody.
no, but it is you push a win-win situation and
Yeah.
mentality. But
So here Earl Brown Earl says the PM was taking the bragging rights for the planned promenade and he was talking about unplanned communities.
but I will tell you earlier the best thing. No, sir.
Yeah, but I mean, each time I heard about this promenade, I kept thinking,
I think no. What I thought about is something on the waterfront.
yes,
That's what I'm used to when you're talking.
When you say
a
promenade,
Yes.
or boardwalk,
yeah.
you're thinking
Or
boardwalk, but it's still a
boardwalk.
promenade. Yes.
Yeah, but that's what I thought of.
When
I
you
thought
say
of-
it, I have visions of that beautiful promenade in Nice, the city in France,
okay.
where someone I know and I spent some time.
Okay. When you went on your honeymoon world
When we
tour.
we did a tour of Europe, yeah,
Oh,
Lowell and I.
But-
And I still remember that promenade. And when you see it, and this is the beauty of travel, you see the things that could fit so easily in your community.
Right.
I mean, right down there by the waterfront, by Ocean Boulevard,
It could
just
fit
perfect for that.
Yeah. Put it in.
And all you need, because like even the promenade in Nice, and that's what it named, the promenade, there's something or other, but its promenade is in the name. Right below it on the beach are the little gelato stands, ice cream, and restaurants, little deli type restaurants where
Right.
you can have fish and salads and whatever. Nothing.
So
it would be perfect for downtown.
Yeah.
How you at the end of the day you pick up what you need to pick up and move up and carry it, go lock
It's on
it
the
up
French
somewhere.
Riviera.
Oh, you hunted it down.
Yes.
In fact, I think it's the Promenade des Anglais.
In Nice, yes.
Yes, the English promenade.
And it stretches for 7 kilometers and provides an uninterrupted view of the French Riviera, the Atlantic. Yeah.
Yes, because you just walk and it's quite
That's 7
blustery and cold.
kilometers. That's nice. You
It's a
could
nice
walk, you know, you
walk.
could have run for a 5K run.
And people run, and I mean you see people jog on it. She
Did
went
they
into
take
the
off all of
Atlantic.
her clothes? She
And-
was running in the nude.
No man, on the beach. She went to she was going for an alfresco swim.
Fresco swim. what
Yeah,
is that?
naked. You know, the cold air. She just dive in
Oh,
and
gee.
come back and put on her clothes. We
No.
didn't wait around to see how it ended.
Okay, but you know, as we talk about hotels, somebody sent me something that recently there's a 1.5 billion US dollar investment that is coming out of Spain to Hanover and doing what they're doing.
All
And
right,
I
we're,
said,
we're getting that sign again. You know, the T1 that tells us
"No,
it's time to quit.
Yes.
And when we come back, we'll talk about our guests because our JPS friends are coming back. Two of our favorites. Well, Saleta we know by correspondence.
But we don't know about her.
Audrey, we haven't actually met her, but
No,
so
Audrey though.
we have
Audrey
guests coming. Audrey is bubbly, and we're
Audrey
looking forward to seeing
lights
you,
up
Miss Audrey.
It's lighting up the area
Yeah.
with her bubbly
All
smile.
right, let's take our break. We'll be back shortly.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
Good morning. May I just welcome you once more to the Morning Connection. It's Free Flowing Thursday, and we are outdoors at the Ligani Club. Those of you who share with us on Thursday mornings should recognize where we are. We are in the garden, just outside the dining pavilion where breakfast is going full force. And some of us who are still fasting can only look at the food, smell the food, and say, Glory be to Jesus, while Pastor Percival can plan to enjoy a full breakfast because his fast, which started before ours, has now ended. Yes, so now you get to see how the other side suffers.
No, it's not suffering.
No,
It
we are
is.
suffering. Are you saying it's not suffering? If
No,
it's not
man.
suffering, it's not a sacrifice. So please don't take away my sacrifice. I am suffering.
You are suffering. All right. Okay. Yeah,
Anyway,
the body under
I'm
subjection.
bringing the body under unwilling subjection. But I do want to say a little bit about the club. We're always grateful for the opportunity to, be accommodated here. The Gani Club is a full service sporting facility, largest of its kind in the English speaking Caribbean. 6 squash courts, 8 tennis courts, uh, full service gymnasium, a more than average size swimming pool,
Yeah, almost Olympic time.
almost Olympic size. Every time we talk about it, we improve the description. And a near Olympic size swimming pool, walking trails, beautiful gardens, parking up to the Yazoo. You know where the Yazoo is? Where parking ends. But really good parking, safe environment, and 38 or so hotel rooms of very modest, decent, good value for your money quality. And if you are in town on business, it is the place to rest your head until you're ready to go back home. It's the home away from home. We're pleased to be members of the club, and we are happy that they support us by giving us an accommodation here on Thursday mornings.
wonderful staff they
Not
got.
to be outdone,
Wonderful stuff.
your turn, because you
JD.
love the wonderful. JD's Urban Pub. This is the local restaurant that operates inside the club. Visitors are welcome. You don't have to be a member to enjoy the food here. You're very welcome if you're just coming in for lunch or dinner or breakfast. They do an excellent Jamaican breakfast.
And they're doing something for Valentine's this weekend.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we should get the information.
Which
Because
is
usually, so they are also the sponsors. They make sure that Percival, Lowell, and myself, and any guests that we have are well taken care of. Good morning to the wonderful staff of JD's Urban Pub,
Catherine and
Catherine
Karine and Karine
and Karine.
and Tina.
Your turn.
And Tina.
I haven't seen Tina in a few days.
Tina soon come, man. Tina soon come.
Oh, you know the schedule.
Yeah, man.
They pass it by you on Wednesday evenings before. All right, so that's a little bit about our sponsors.
Catherine and Tina.
JD's Urban Pub, Mr. Jason Del Valle, from a very distinguished family of caterers and chefs and restaurateurs. The man have pedigree in this area, and also he's really a delightful person as well. Good
Been
morning
trying to
to
get
you,
him on camera
JD.
for the last 2
Oh,
years.
so yes, he's also a shy
Shy,
person.
camera shy. So that's
He's
all right.
camera
Just
shy.
enjoy the food. It speaks
Yeah.
for itself,
And
and
we
it really
do talk
does.
about it. What I would love to talk about is the corn pork that they used to serve. I've not seen it on the menu for a while. And the pig farmers were saying, eat more pork.
Firebone.
Firebone on the pork.
Firebone on the pork.
Anyway, we are having guests this morning. We do a program with the Jamaica Public Service Company Limited. It's one of, well, I'm going to say it's one of my brain children, but I know Percy might say he might have a share in it, and then Lowell too. But so we just call it's one of our brainchild. We felt that our listeners could well benefit from understanding a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes, the planning and the deployment of infrastructure to meet the energy needs of the country. Also felt like some of the policy issues, the regulation issues, pricing issues,
Well,
that
it has been-
customers need to be a lot more sensitive and build a better relationship with the energy company. Your energy company is a critical partner for the future. I mean, we love the technology and all that, but the truth of the matter is there's no internet you're going to have if you don't have electricity to power your devices and so on and so forth. So JPS is an important member of our local family. Gotta say family, because we have to hold hands and walk together in agreement. So this program, which is like a public education program that JPS gave it the name, they say JPS Cares on Best FM. Very
I love
simple.
it.
It's
GPS cares,
very
and they really
simple.
care.
Yeah. Solita Thomas is going to join us this morning. She is the one we know in correspondence. We've never actually met Solita, so I'm looking forward to meeting her.
Me
She is
too.
the communications assistant. And with her will be Miss Audrey Williams, the manager of media and public relations. Now, all I want to
Sunshine.
know,
Sunshine
Miss
coming.
Audrey,
Sunshine.
effervescent,
Sunshine
bubbly.
coming. Sunshine.
Yes, she's gonna bring some. She brings the energy, and even as I said, that's how she says it too, with the jazz hands.
She brings the
She brings
energy.
the energy, and
Sunshine.
they're gonna be talking about. So, dial back. You remember, somewhere near Easter last year, JPS shut down their system, not
Put
the
on-
power system, but their
The
customer
information
care
therapy
system.
to put on something new.
So they could install their new customer relation system. Today they're going to be sharing with us some of the personalized features. These are the features that you can adapt to meet your personal needs that are available to customers when they contact JPS via the customer service line. They have upgraded their self-help features to serve the customers better. That's what they say. Now, this part I generally don't like because I love the human voice. When I have to go through, like pages and pages of, if you know your party's number, dial it now. If you said dial one for something, and when you get to that one, it is another IVR interactive voice system telling you 6 other things to do. Anyway,
You know, they have an ad for that, and just to break,
very funny.
yeah,
But-
I saw something in another media where this lady, a retired person,
yes,
her check was bounced.
yes.
So she
called
wrote
her
a very
bank.
called her bank, and she picked up on the media, and she wrote a wonderful letter to say, okay, this is how you're gonna do it. And she went on and used the same strategy back on them. So she said, when you get to this thing, if this happen, move to this thing and this. And so that means you can't talk to me at all because
No,
that's how you
yes,
treat
that's
me.
how you treat me.
So it was very
Entertaining and
entertaining.
on point.
Yes. when she
Right.
said.
So anyway, JPS is coming to tell us about improvements it made to their system where you can navigate it without the need to speak to an agent. Customers who have their contact information updated, you can now get your bill balance, your due dates, details on reconnection if that's what you're hunting, outage information if you are affected by an outage. So they're going to come and tell us what these improvements are and how we're going to navigate it without going insane and cussing JPS, because JPS cares.
Okay.
So looking forward to seeing Madame Audrey and Solita.
Terms of
That's
what
going to
they're
happen at, they get here for 8:30. What time did they get here again? 8:30. So they'll take us into the 9 o'clock hour. All right. Got to get used to that again.
So I'm on X. I'm seeing a lot of stuff on X. Yes, But one of the fascinating things on X, somebody put out something which says that they recently opened Montego Bay Fire Station with the rains that happened. The upper floor is underwater.
Oh, Jesus. A fire station underwater. Well, that's an interesting
Yeah,
conundrum.
that the upper floor.
And it's the upper floor that is underwater. You mean the roof leak then?
Yeah. You can't, and just this
You're getting exhausted.
no man,
You think the Prime Minister will be there saying anything? He's going to avoid that one like a hot potato. Poor Percy. Those who are keeping an eye on the diaspora
happening there.
activism,
We've just gotten
Yes.
an update
please go ahead and share the update.
from our news reporter out of
Or
out of-
correspondent.
out of Toronto to say that the protest is happening now.
No, not
Soon.
no. What?
Stay tuned.
Should we fire him?
protesting.
Are we firing him as a news?
in Toronto soon. Oh, I thought
Right.
it was now.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
This is like a save the date without knowing
And
what the
then
date
New
is.
York is May 10th.
And New York, May 10th. When I see the date for New York, May 10th,
So what is the
no, it's telling me that there's a calendar of protests
Yeah.
that somebody will march right into general elections. When don't election due next year, 25th? We call it 25th, but 2025.
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
If you're doing a protesting, one of the things that Jamaica doesn't have the appetite for, but other jurisdictions are way ahead of us with it, is the long campaign.
Yeah, we don't.
We into 21 days. You see, like how America is now going through the primaries, and then come November,
And you know what is happening.
and right, and they're gearing up for. They spend the last 2 years of the term in election.
In election mode.
Yes, because something always are going. Something is happening at the local level, then at the state level, then before it gets federal. We don't have that appetite or that stamina. We run hard for 21 days.
I'll finish.
Are
That's why
we
we are
done?
sprinters. That's why we are sprinters. We don't do well at long distance.
We run hard for the little 3 weeks.
No,
And then we're tired and we don't look at them until they announce again. And we
You know,
start to.
Portland
we
is of
start to-
interest to us,
yeah.
you know, because the country pastor, country pastor, Brother Michael.
Oh, you call the man country pastor.
But
the Ivy League scholar.
Yes, but listen to this. Norwich Heights in Portland on Sunday took to the streets to fix some of the worst sections of Hummingbird Boulevard.
So does that mean the people were fixing it or they were
They're
protesting?
fixing it themselves. I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
This is Portland.
Well,
I
much
love
as-
that. I love that. I
Yep.
love that. The people them saying, no man, we have to fix the road ourselves. We can't wait.
But an interesting thing is that when members of the community go out, get educated, become engineers, lawyers, doctors, teachers, and they still have a care, like the diaspora effect, and they still have a care for their communities, they will lend their professional skills to handle problems which are persistent, chronic problems that the local government don't get to. What's that you're watching now? Pastor Percival.
It be watching what is
Is there-
breaking. It's breaking on Twitter in
Please.
terms of, yes, to look at the police vehicle and the people and the supporters. They can't do that.
What do you mean they can't do that?
They're not supposed to do it.
Okay.
I know the Prime Minister is on tours, you have to give anything, but to have them on the police
So the
vehicle,
police vehicle is transporting the
The
JLP
JLP
party
party.
supporters. That's concerning you.
Yes,
Yeah.
they must do that.
Oh geez, from the big to the small. If someone gets injured, it will take on a whole other complexion. I see. I'm not getting online. I'm not able to browse, and there was something I wanted to look at. The paper. Our consulate in Toronto is at Ellington Avenue. Is a garbage no packing? I don't understand what you're saying, Conrad. He says, no, yes. We have a lot to come. Wait till summer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I see. So something, God bless our diaspora. They're clearly in the field working to make some change at home, but they're waiting on the summer when it's warmer.
When it is not so cold.
Is that so cool?
If you know,
There
so
are
that means-
limits to your
No,
patriotism.
but hold on.
He passed this paper.
If you do it in the winter time, you know, so they're serious. They are diehard,
yes.
committed to Jamaica. Don't no question about that.
Oh boy.
Much money I get to be. I'm gonna find out what is the going thing to vote.
What is the what?
The going rate to be able to vote.
But you say it was 10,000 to 30,000. But
Yeah.
you know what? Do we sit here and talk about the cost of a gram of cocaine? Or
No, we don't.
some other illegal product?
So that is
So we're not
illegal.
going to discuss the price of a vote, lest anyone think we're condoning it, or even worse, that we're advertising. So we're not going to talk about it. Your vote is not for sale. And there's a lot to be said about people who sell the things that should never be sold. You know, when you exchange spiritual things for physical things,
That's what happened.
chief among them, young Mr. Esau, coming hot and hungry from the field and see his brother
Soul is birthright.
cooking food and say,
Are you making the comparison
Yes.
that when you do it, are selling your birthright?
yes,
So those of us who are Jamaicans, do not sell your birthright for a measly
whatever,
pot of stew.
a pot of stew. Let's use
Eat a
that.
food today.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
It's your democratic right. Do not sell it.
It's not cute. It's not funny. You are actually tying up the future of your own children.
Yeah. Let's look at it that way.
And after you've done it, I want you to know that after you accept money for the priceless, the man who put the money in your hand, who is worse than even you, have no respect for you.
No. Yeah. You have prostituted
none.
yourself.
You have already prostituted yourself. And even though he is worse than you for offering it, you in your moment of need and hunger or just plain lack of morality, go and take money from somebody so they could say they have secured your support. You've cursed yourself, my sons and daughters of this nation. All right. There's been some talk, and I want to know your view on it, Percival. There's been some talk about the violence and the restlessness of the waves, the sea, the activity going on in the coastal towns of those parishes that have had more Zozos and SOEs than we care to admit. What for you is what should people who are spiritual minded, what should we be thinking, doing, saying concerning that? And I don't want you to leave out of your reflections the recent public display of wizardry, the Kumina table, the one that was posted on social media as some kind of boast on how we are.
Black History Month?
Nothing to do with Black History.
That's what it was said. That's what they said.
Oh, that's what it said?
Yeah,
Black
to
History
start
Month?
up Black History Month. But it is with Dr. There's a PhD in cultural studies who led the thing. But I'm saying to you, you need to be so careful because you do not want to get into that kind of a thing. Because you open up yourself and you open up your country to that realm it is wicked. They just come to kill, to steal, and to destroy. If we believe that in doing it, we're tapping into some power. That power is a wicked power, you know. That one, it said, eat you up, and it will spit you out. And then it opens up the other realm in terms of, okay, I found it strange that the ferocity of the waves in the Negril, there's a lot of blood that has been shed in Westmoreland.
That's why I read
There's
it
a lot
with
of
you.
blood that has been shed in St. James. And even Clarendon too. We have to be, and so we must not.
There's always a lot of talk about marine spirits.
But there is too.
And because we're an island state, surrounded by the water,
That's
there's a lot of interaction between that dominion
and us.
and the land.
And even
And there are some times when you really do feel like the sea is trying to attack the land. It's like they're coming to take something. And do you know what it looked like to me when I was watching some of the videos of the pounding of the waves and the relentless onslaught of water? It reminded me of when you, like Barbados, is the Atlantic Ocean? Barbados is one of the islands right. There is a ferocity to the movements of the ocean that is a way different profile to what you get from the warm, gentle Caribbean Sea. Caribbean Sea actually feels warm on occasions.
Because remember, Barbados is between Caribbean Sea and it's Atlantic, or is it
think it's the Atlantic.
Ocean?
Yeah.
That's right there. So here comes our
Yeah.
guest.
So,
So how we get
don't tell the listeners.
sunshine is here.
There's that smile. All right, so our friends from JPS have entered,
And it's time for the 8:30
distracting
break.
us completely with the energy.
As the sunshine enters the room.
Yeah. All right, we'll take our break so we can meet and greet. Good morning and welcome back. Morning Connection with our free flowing Thursday conversation at the Ligani Club. And now, drum roll, Percival.
Welcome. So the sunshine come. No, man, no,
I said
but-
drum roll.
All
Let me
right.
see. And now, at the table with us, our friends from JPS. It's such a delight to see you and to meet the new lady that you've brought. So, we've been. I know.
We've seen the name all this time.
In fact, producer says, "Oh, we thought you were an AI."
You really did say that about this beautiful
Yeah,
lady.
but
Oh
it's okay.
my! You did. You did.
Oh, we know. We know JPS is big in technology.
You are.
Yeah, okay, we can pinch her. But no, we're welcoming. I'm going to start with Solita because we know her name and it's the first time we're meeting her. Welcome, Miss Solita, communication assistant to none other than your wonderful team. Welcome again, my dear
Thank
Miss
you.
Audrey
Thank you for having
Williams.
me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Say no, we put your middle name as Sunshine.
She brings
So
the
much for
energy.
Marie.
So much for Marie.
Marie.
Gosh,
Sunshine
and
Marie.
As much
But
as we came
welcome.
to talk about our, I don't want to use that term like IVR because it sounds so techy and what is that?
And
I mean, it's our
cold.
telephone service that helps you, right? But first, Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yes, me dear.
And because we knew that we wouldn't be here in time for Valentine's Day, because Wednesday it's also Ash Wednesday and
Yes,
so
holiday.
on. So we said,
So thoughtful.
happy pre-Valentine's Day
Oh
to
my!
each of you.
It's chocolate.
I think it is something
We
sweet.
didn't get you anything.
Sweet company.
Oh, JPS does
and
care.
we, yes, so
And a rose.
for the
Thank
taste buds
you.
as well as the
Oh,
the
thank
nostril.
you.
There you go.
And I'll take the producer's one.
All right, so
I think he wants to help himself.
I'm showing off. I'm just showing off my rose and my
Oh,
bar.
my Lord. Thank
Thank
you very much.
you.
Really do appreciate
You are
it.
welcome. You are welcome.
They will come
Thank
sweeten
you.
us up before they talk
Well,
about
on
it.
behalf of our listeners,
Yes, we
Oh,
don't
we
have any for
really
the
do thank
listeners,
you.
but they get to watch you.
yes, that's why I have to say. And it's because they are listening that we are able to show you so much love and you show us love. We really do appreciate this program. We were claiming paternity. It's really, it have three parents.
Okay.
Yes,
That works,
It's
you
well
know.
blessed. Three of us just recognizing that JPS is an important partner in this nation, and so much lack of understanding
And we
in
trust-
days
Yeah.
gone by.
Yeah.
we trust that
We're
we
just
should-
trying to build a bridge for our listeners to really put aside misconceptions and
Yes.
and just start fresh, recognizing that energy is an important part of whatever we're gonna do going forward. We all love data, but anytime the phone die and we don't have no power, it
Yes.
doesn't really matter how much data you have sitting on your phone. So thank you again for entrusting us with this little part
Yes.
of your world and for giving us something from the land. These are red roses, you all.
Yes.
I get
Red
American
roses.
red roses.
roses.
Red rose
or-
for Gregory.
Yes, yes. Well, that's coming up. Red roses
right.
for a minute.
Yeah, the three of us. Thank you.
You are
So-
so welcome, and thanks for the opportunity to share what we have, because it's always important when we're able to shed a little light, no pun intended, on a situation. People say,
As long as you don't bill me for the light you're shedding.
no, this is
That-
like
Yes.
Fun
this
away.
is free, love and light. So, so yes, our telephone service. People say, Lord, I have to wait so long to talk to somebody, and da da da.
And listen to that song.
And yeah, that lively, beautiful song.
I remember the feel of it, but I don't remember the words.
Yeah, light up the street.
Light up the street.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, we
You
try
know,
to
like I
keep
could-
it.
I
We try to
could
keep it
feel
well
it,
lit.
but I
Yeah.
couldn't remember the
It's
words.
high energy. Although we know that sometimes if you're frustrated and you're angry and you get something high energy coming
Oh,
out, you're like,
Jesus, you want to chew up the phone.
you're like, nah, not now, not now.
I don't want to light up anything.
But you
Especially
know,
if you don't have power.
overall, we love to give people a high energy, a good energy feel,
Yeah.
and we recognize that people's time is important.
Right.
So JPS has roughly 680,000 customers.
It's grown.
So yes, so if there is an event or whatever, you and your neighbor and other people might be trying to call center might be a little
All
swamped.
at the same time.
But that doesn't mean that you can't get help, because we've set up a system that you can help yourself. It will actually take your information. So if you have your phone number
Yes, on your bill.
on your bill, so meaning we have it in the system. Like if you
Right.
get, say, text messages from us, that means we
Yeah,
have
you
your
have the
number.
Yeah, I
Right.
get, and I
Right.
get it, and it says your bill is now due, and it's due by
Exactly,
the
which
certain
means
time.
that, so
You when it-
right, so
when the
we
bill
have
is
your
ready.
number. So
Right.
if you call from that phone number, the IVR or the telephone system
Yes.
is able to identify, that is Percy calling, right? And able to say, hey, is it about this account? And then able to give you a whole bunch of information. I'm going to allow Salita to tell you about some of the things that a telephone service can just offer to you, so that you don't have to
Push
actually
to you.
speak to a human being. We do love that though. We love speaking to humans, but you know, hurry, you just want the
Yeah,
information and
yeah,
go.
yeah.
This would be very helpful. So
All right.
you can tell us some of the things.
So what are the things that the system will volunteer?
Right. So, right, as Audrey said, if you're calling from the telephone number that we have on the account, right up front, without having to speak to an agent, you get information such as your bill balance. So if you're just calling for your bill balance, you can get that without having to wait in the queue to speak to somebody to get that information. You get your bill balance and you get your due date.
So do you have to ask, or it just says your bill balance is?
It's
Right.
generated.
So it asks you if this is the account number you're calling about, right? So right up front, the number that we have on your account, it will ask you if this is the account number you're calling about, and you select yes, right? Once you select yes, then you'll be able to select if you want to get your bill balance,
Right.
for example.
Right.
If that is what you're
Okay.
calling about, you can select that
Yeah.
option to get your
Okay.
bill balance. So you're not calling about your bill balance and you want to maybe get details. You were disconnected and you want to find out
Yes.
how much you were disconnected for, what you need to pay to get reconnected. You can also select that option to get that information. So again, no need to speak to an agent. You can get that information right up front. And if, for example, you lost supply and you're wondering if there's an outage in your area and you want to know, is there an outage in my area? You can also get that information as well.
But I've noticed that
Those
because
are the frequently asked
Right,
questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it's critical.
And I was just thinking,
for
like,
those reasons.
because I'm on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, you get this information. When you're doing outages in area, you automatically, with your new system, just send it out so people are aware
Right,
of what
right.
is happening. And
The
that's
planned
something that I
outages.
really do
Yes.
like and
Yeah.
appreciate.
Right. So for our outage communication, so we have basically two types of outages. You have the planned outages that we know we take it out because we're going to do some
Do
repairs
work,
or do
right.
some vegetation management. And then there are the unplanned outages, like a motor vehicle took it out. Yet we have had over 60 motor vehicle accidents since the start of 2024, taking out power. It is
Taking out power.
But we
been
haven't had
unbelievable.
60 days yet.
Like-
That means it's more than one per day.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just been
Precisely.
ridiculous.
240.
It's been exactly 2 point something.
Per day.
And so it's like, what's going on? But so you have those.
Is it on a
outages.
certain new highway? I'm kidding.
Across.
It's across the board, though.
It's across the board. The new highways that are there. That's still
No,
one
it's
south, one.
No,
oh, yeah.
I don't even think it's highway is too tough. It's regular roads. Yeah.
Oh, we're
It's
so
kinda
accustomed to
crazy.
highway now. We
I
don't
know,
remember how
and
to
people
drive
just-
on regular roads.
But it's actually regular roads.
Yeah.
Breaking wooden poles, and I don't think we have wooden poles on the highway too tough. Anyway.
No, you wouldn't.
So just regular roads, and it's everywhere. It's town, it's country.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
you might wonder, what's up. So
Telephone
for the
use,
planned,
that's what's up.
exactly. So for the planned outages, you're gonna get your text message, or you're gonna get your email, or you check our Twitter.
Phone.
And
Good
so-
advance.
Right,
Solid
and it's there. It's
advance.
all
Right.
there. Which areas are going to be out from when to when, etc. And if we are running late, we will let you know that.
Let me
Said
tell you now, you
five,
guys have
but-
really stepped up your game, you know. I
Yeah,
remember the
we've
days
really
when
been
you did not
working
know
What was happening?
Like what's
and you
going on?
call- Yes.
Yeah.
You
And we
really, this is one of the best examples of how technology can be used to bring really better communication and customer service.
Yeah, that's something
Yeah.
that we said, you know what, we have to do something about this. And it's really about watching the trends. I know I'm a little off off message.
It's free
but,
flowing Thursday.
what was happening, we initially used to advertise primarily on radio. And that worked very well when
Yes.
it was 2 radio stations, maybe 3. So you
Yeah.
had RJ,
Hey,
you had
now
We
you
have
have
about
DJ,
20 radio
28.
stations.
Ah,
28.
near to 30
About
radio
30.
stations.
Yeah.
So when you tell somebody that it was on air, they're like,
Not everybody
Where?
gets
I
the
listen to
information.
PQS. Right.
Exactly. And even if you were to spread it on the 30 stations, and everybody's listening at a
Not
time,
Right.
so this is a message that's passing quickly, like 30 seconds or
Yeah,
1 minute,
yeah.
in a sea of radio stations. We're like, you know what? People just not hearing the message. So we said, you know what? Let's just go directly to the customer. And as the technology evolves, you can do more of
You
that.
use those
So you
direct
start to use the
avenues.
text messaging,
Yeah.
you start to use the email. We even use WhatsApp if it's a particularly big outage. I remember we had
Yeah.
a big outage. There was some work being done at the time. It was the Constant Spring. So during the whole highway, it wasn't a highway, expansion of Constant Spring Road.
Right.
And
Double.
Hadley Park was doing at the same time,
Right.
and Portmore. There was a whole lot of stuff going on, and we were going to take out a very, very big area because the roads are being widened and the lines, the poles and lines have to be put back further
Yes.
into the embankment. And we're like, you know what? Text and email is not going to be enough for this. WhatsApp, which is the new town crier, the digital town crier.
Yes.
So we had to use WhatsApp.
All hands
We
on
were
deck.
on air.
And what
Story,
we try
everything.
to, and what we try
Yes.
to do with the WhatsApp messages as well is to try to drop them in like the Citizens Association groups.
Exactly.
Yes,
So they
yes.
can
'Cause
be
they will share.
circulated.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's
and
just
send
kind
it
of
to our people in those
Yeah.
areas. So you have your parish managers, your customer care managers, and they would have their circle of people who maybe always call them for X or Y.
Right.
So that's just an aside to say that
how
yes, we're
bad
trying
was the
to use-
outcry? And that how bad was it?
Well, I tell you what, the outcry was more all right, fine, but hurry up.
So there is a, all right,
Yes,
okay, so
yes,
they understood, but then
yeah.
hurry up and
Understood,
then.
but they're
Yeah.
like, just hurry up and do it
Right.
already.
Which is way better
so
than-
it's way
than
better
we
than
want life.
What are you
Yes.
doing?
What's
Like,
happening?
my
We don't know
thing's
what's happening.
spoiling, my this, my that. So
Lois, so that's not
it's
a
a different
cry.
kind of cry. No,
That's a
it's
sob.
like
He
it's like
said
what's
that's a
taking you so
sob.
long.
Yeah.
I have to go to the beach. Then I have to go to
you
my
find
mother
a
house
way.
and but we can't fix all the problems
Yeah.
in the world.
No, but
and we
it's-
do have
it's-
our constrengths.
It's a
you know.
beautiful way to keep your
Yes.
customer engaged.
And people do appreciate that.
Yep.
So
We
back
sure
to
do.
the IVR. Back to the IVR. It also helps you to report an outage that was not planned. So I just told you about planned outages.
Right.
But you have your unplanned motor vehicle or anything else. I mean, like the other day we had just yesterday or the day before, some unusually high winds, especially in the west,
Oh,
where the
yeah.
winds came in all
Adverse
kind of
weather.
drama, and so
West End.
something might happen, and you just need to
Tier
report an
one.
outage. Exactly, it
Yeah.
was just very unusual in February. So you can walk us through that, Salita, just for our audience and for obviously Minute and Percy, just what happens. Like you make a call to
IVR.
and it is 888 call JPS, which is 888-225-5577.
Yeah.
But I remember that.
888 call JPS.
Right, there you go.
Simple.
So just walk us through, so you want to make a report
On a car crash
about an
that taken
outage.
out.
What happens?
Right. So you contact us and you want to make a report, right? If you're calling from the telephone number that's on the account, we will have your information already. You'll be notified that there's an outage in your area, right? If it's a planned outage.
So what if I'm not in my area, but me notice one car crash?
All
Right.
So I call, all
Right.
right, I am identified as
Right.
Percival Palmer, but my account is in Spanish now. I'm on Hagley Park Road.
Right.
The system will take that information from me.
The system will take that information. So what will happen is that we need an account number. So it
Right,
would
I
be
did.
good if you have an account number for somebody that lives
That crash.
That's in the area.
that's in the area.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
'Cause-
So the avenue for reporting outages, even if you're just a helpful citizen, still needs to run on a particular track.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
They'll know it's Percy call, and if he was just making mischief.
Right.
Let me check it back.
But it won't say Percy though, It
Right.
will.
Account number
it will
X.
say, is this the number?
the account
Right.
number. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where you're calling about your account. That's
Right.
very helpful because to go and repeat the bill address, the account number,
Right.
and
So
some-
you have your your
Yeah.
text message. So your
Yeah.
account number is ready. It
Yeah,
will
right.
ask you, is this for this account? Let us say you
Yeah,
say
suppose
no,
me have
it's
3
not.
accounts on my phone bill.
Or you're at your mother's house. Yes,
Right.
mommy, just send me the bill. And then you make the call.
Right.
And then it will ask you, put in your customer number. So you will boop, 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 and your number sign. It's gonna direct you, you don't have to guess. There's no guesswork.
So may I ask, Is there a companion system that deals with non-account holders? Not your consumers now. So this is uniquely cute for your customers.
Right.
Yes.
So is there, or we just, that one?
So for
We-
the non-account
we wait.
holders, so you may want
you
to
have
speak
to speak to
a
an-
person,
right, right.
an actual human being. But from it is your account, or even just somebody's account
Yeah.
that you have.
That you have. Once you
There
have the
are
account
a
number.
range of things that you can report.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it doesn't just say, is there an outage? It will give you some options. So it will say, if you want to report a broken line, do you want to report a fire?
Yeah.
Do you
Okay.
want to report a new outage? Do you want to hear what are the planned outages? There's a whole menu. So it don't just say outages. There's a whole menu of
My
outage
question now,
types.
my
Yes.
question now, because some of us don't trust technology. We feel like it gone in some cloud
Some
where
black hole.
nobody's looking to see what went up there. Is there a process that then confirms to me that my
Yes.
information is getting real time?
Yes, you actually get
Yeah.
a report number. Once you have completed logging the
Okay.
report, you get a
Okay.
report
Okay.
number.
Okay.
Yeah,
You can
okay.
use a report number.
And I can use that to track.
You can
it.
use it to
Make
track
sure I
and
wasn't being
say-
scammed.
Right. You can call back if you wish to speak to
Right,
anyone, but you don't
yes,
have to.
yeah.
And say, this is my report number, such, PR, whatever, or SL if it's a street light, or
Right.
whatever, and you give them your number.
And
then
then-
on the back end, no, there are people receiving the information on the back end who are sorting for
Right.
outages, street lights.
Also, people
this,
within
that.
the organization
Right,
back
yeah.
in and say, okay.
So that, and it's the same thing that happens with the mobile app. So you put in your information in the mobile app, you get your report number. There's somebody on the back end who is working those orders and saying, okay, guys,
Send
there's an
someone
emergency,
out.
there's a fire
Right.
here. So, and here's the thing too, you might make a report. Let's say you report an outage, and it's in the queue to be looked after. However, somebody else comes and reports a fire.
Woo,
They're gonna
priority.
skip. Yeah, that's a priority call. So
Yeah.
while you were very important and remain important, the
Fire,
fire now
But
is
the more
a
important
priority
is-
call
Priority,
and it
right.
gets
And you know what?
ahead of you.
Especially if it's my neighbor's fire. 'Cause I don't want it spread to me.
Yes,
Even my neighbor
absolutely.
first.
So that comes in front, and then they are
Yeah.
going to be dealt with. So
Yeah.
the person might say, you know, I thought you said X amount of time you were going to be here. And it's not the case.
Right.
But sometimes we have priority calls that if it is about safety, if it's about life, property,
Those
in
get-
danger,
that's top
those are
priority.
automatically put to the front
Move
of the
to the-
line,
to the front
and then
of the
you
line.
wait.
Okay.
And then outages that, so when we're looking to restore people, the outages that are affecting the greatest number.
You said that before.
Exactly.
Are the ones that get
So that-
priority.
exactly.
That's
So
one.
that's like your hurricane restoration, but it's also a principle that the greatest good to the greatest number,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you work it down. So if you are on on what we call a lateral, so that's like you're not on the main, but you're on a side road off a side road off a side. And if you
Can I
want,
help you?
and if you want,
Call your
You know,
MP.
sir.
the important still in
Call
our-
it MP. I call you counsel.
No, man, we're coming,
They
we're
come
coming,
in, they
we're
come, the
coming.
cavalry is
But-
coming.
But understand that
Yes.
big group over there is gonna get attended
Priority,
to first,
okay.
especially if it has
Probably
an
there's a
essential
school
service.
or a hospital.
They call our team.
Exactly,
So now,
exactly.
all of us have had or IVR experiences. I was on, we lost our luggage last time we traveled, and I entered into IVR hell.
Oh.
There are some airlines that operate in foreign
Well,
countries
GPS,
where
but
they
it's not
don't
IVRL.
speak when they no. This is where we're getting to. They don't even speak English. So one of the first things is to choose the language.
Yes.
If you happen to hear the option
to choose
yes,
the
so you have
language.
sometimes. Oh my goodness, it was horrible. And I'm a technology girl. I am not afraid of. Sometimes it's even better to be picking through the options than to have a very bad customer service person
True.
trying to. So, but that one terrified me. Now you have to let our customers know that yours
Get
is
it in
not
Spanish.
Right, right.
How quickly can
No,
we
you're not getting it in
disengage?
Spanish.
I get it in patois. Get it in
Maybe you
patois.
talk to the agent.
You talk to
Tell
the
the agent
agent,
that
you
you
get
need
it.
patois.
some
You know, I
patois
don't
here.
understand. You're talking
I don't
about
understand
patois. Maybe they
English.
could.
But
you
how
won't-
easy is it to move from the robot voice to a human?
Okay, that's really
assistant.
easy because that's one of the options that you get. And
Yeah.
even before, I should have mentioned this, even before you get to the options, at the very, very beginning, if there is a big event, like say the weather condition that rip this and tear that and so on, you're going to get that even before you are
Okay.
asking for something. So it says, there are a number of outages due to adverse weather or due to XYZ, and they're in this area, and we are trying to get to you as quickly as possible. We understand that you need the power, and we are working on it. So before
So the
you even
IVR
get
does
into-
that?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it
wow.
does. Yes, it does. So we can change and put any relevant message that is necessary.
On your IVR?
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
yes.
that's
On
cool.
yeah, man. So our self-serve phone system will help you to know, because when stuff like that happens, you might get a whole rush of people say, "Oh my gosh, XYZ," and so they rush
We
in.
want persons to know upfront
Yeah.
that we are aware.
Upfront, we
Right.
know we're on it. So if that's why you're here, it's okay. So we'll free up the passage for those who are
those
coming
who-
through for other reasons.
Right.
So we
Okay.
try
Yeah.
to proactively handle mass issues like that via the self-serve.
The self-serve.
And you can also
So-
even check
Yes,
for
so I want
outages
to-
in your area
So-
before you get into it.
So I want to know, how can I slip out of the spool or the loop into
Yes.
a
Yes.
human, into a human?
You want to
It asks
do
you.
do you
It
want to
asks you.
speak
Do you
to
want to
our
speak to
The
customer
option is
service?
there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
after it gives you the immediate welcome and ask you if this is the account number you're calling about, and if you're reporting an outage, and if you don't want any of those options,
Right.
it gives you right on that main.
What's the
line
response time?
to speak to it.
Okay, the response time is not bad. I think the last statistic that we got, I don't know if we have the collation up to the end of 2023. I suppose we do by now. I think it was about 20 minutes. However, I'm going to qualify that by saying it depends
What-
on if
Does
there are
response time
spikes.
mean wait time? What do you mean by
Oh,
response
what do you
time?
mean?
Wait time in terms of, okay, don't use the IVR, but you want to talk to an
Contact
agent.
agent. It would like to be roughly 20 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
With that nice
it
little
could.
song.
It depends.
And
It
you like
depends.
the
It could
nice
be
little
less.
song.
We probably should double check that. I probably should double check that and
Yeah.
let you know so you
Yeah.
can announce it if I'm wrong. But and that's an average. So you don't have to be that long. You could actually be much shorter. But I myself sometimes have tested it just to see
What the experience
what
is
happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one thing. Yes, go ahead.
Right, and there's actually a great feature. So if you're unable to wait,
wait,
right, and say you're calling from credit and your credit is
And so
running
down, I
low,
hear the lady
right.
talking to you on the phone.
We have an awesome callback feature,
Okay.
right? So you can.
I've seen that. That has happened
you
to
can,
me.
You can
Yeah,
request a
I've tried
callback.
Yes,
that.
yes.
We'll hold your place in the queue. So wherever you were in the queue, we'll hold your
Yeah.
place in the queue, and we'll call you back
Oh, wow.
when it's
Yes.
your time.
Really, that's
Actually,
a funny
I
thing.
think that's
Really,
a
great
really,
feature.
and I'm not just saying it because I'm it is such a boss
It's a really
feature.
great feature.
It is because a lot of people, the complaint is my credits are done.
Right.
So to explain the toll free,
Even though
if
it's
you have a
toll-free.
flow line. So
Yes.
if you have a flow landline,
Landline.
it's toll free. But if you are calling from a cell phone or if you're calling from a Digicel phone, mark you there's a line that if you're calling from Digicel, you still pay but at a reduced rate. But then let's say you're like, I just can't. Then you can get a call back. And that's on us.
Yeah.
So right
I
there,
love the callback
yeah,
feature,
you
actually.
win
Yeah.
in many
you
ways.
can then
You-
go do other things without the phone
Absolutely.
glued to your ear.
Exactly.
Listening to
you
this
get
song
your
and cursing
time and you
GPS.
save your cost.
Right.
You
Yeah.
don't have to, finish your credit. And you get your problem dealt with. So it's
I
a
don't
great
know, it really
win-win.
works.
I
It
don't
really
think
works.
I've-
It has worked for me.
And I don't think
Awesome.
I've
Great. It's
actually
happy to hear
seen
that.
it on
Nothing like a
anybody
real
else.
testimonial,
feedback.
Yeah, it has
Like
worked
an
for me.
lie
Like I'm here going and I'm
Yeah.
like, say, all right.
Let's
Call back
Let's
and
see,
they call me
let's
back
see.
and say, are you your son? So did you call?
Yeah.
I say, yeah, and I told them and it was quickly resolved.
awesome.
You know, the
Awesome.
only, yeah, I
Can
don't
we
think
get into
I've-
the one?
Testimonial.
and I don't think I've seen that on anybody else's system, quite honestly.
No, it's true. It's true. You
Yeah,
make a
Yeah.
call
the
back.
callback feature
Yeah.
is a great
Yeah.
feature.
And even though I don't want to be telling tales out of school, but along the same line, we are looking to make life quicker and easier for the customers coming into the office. I shouldn't say anything more, right? I must bust it out just
Oh,
yet.
bust
It's
it out,
coming,
yeah.
it's coming,
When you
coming.
come back.
When you come back.
Coming to a parish office near you.
Yeah.
but
Yes,
in the same
yes.
way we're making it easier on the phone, we're making it easier in the office
On the
as well,
ground.
because we want all of our touch points to be that much
the
easier,
same
that much
standard.
quicker, that much
Standard.
more convenient.
Yeah.
Right.
We go for our 9 o'clock break at this point
Wow.
in time. It's so time fly when you're having
know.
fun.
Yes,
we're
And
done
sunshine, you're not
already.
leaving us yet.
Yes, we have to go.
Say goodbye.
We'll come back after, no problem.
Yes, yes, so we can say goodbye properly.
Okay, we can say goodbye.
No
Yeah, yeah.
problem.
Thank you.
we're off.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You know, we love company and we've had excellent company this morning. We just took some extra time with the ladies from JPS, Miss Salita Thomas, and our wonderful effervescent
Audrey Sunshine.
Audrey Sunshine Williams. And honestly, we could keep going because we've entered new topics which are not on your script. But we just wanted to say thank you for
We
spending the
are-
half an hour with us. It's one of the
Yes.
quickest half an hours ever.
I know, right?
and for bearing gifts.
Yes, so we want you to enjoy it, you
Yeah,
know,
but-
whatever the season is, we're here for it because we are the company of all seasons.
Yes.
Yeah, that is so true.
That's true.
And this IVR system.
Right, yes. Well done with your IVR
It
system.
really works. It
We
really
will share
works.
that with the team because they really put a lot of sweat
really
into
wo-
it.
really
a lot of
work. It
midnight
really work.
oil.
You know, it sounds like the innovators behind it saw themselves as customers and,
Yes.
and know what they would
that
want.
really is what
Yeah.
it is. And
Right. And
Yeah.
listening to the
Yes,
customers as well.
taking a lot of feedback. A lot of these things are really coming out of customer surveys. If you tell us, these are my pain points. That's all right.
I hear you.
Where they're scratching, you go fix
Let's
it.
go.
Yeah.
Right.
and you
One
fix
by
it.
one, working
Yeah.
our way down the list.
It's
you know.
beautifully done.
So
And you're gonna discover that people will put up with a lot of things if you're talking to them and you're
Yeah.
hearing them.
Yeah.
Not
For
to say
real.
you should give us
No,
more
no,
to put up
no,
with.
No.
No. They're getting better. They're getting better. They're getting better. They're
All
getting
right.
better.
So thank you again, Salita
you so
and
much.
And
Audrey.
final
Thank you
meeting,
for having
Solita.
us.
Yes,
Yes,
finally.
yes.
Finally.
Final
Yeah.
meeting,
Have a
Solita.
beautiful Thursday.
You too.
And we'll have a
Thanks
beautiful
for-
Valentine's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The rose will last. I mean, I'm gonna make
You can
sure
put it
it
in your
does.
fridge.
Put it in
Some
the
water.
fridge and in
Yeah,
water.
You can put
Yeah,
it in the
we're
fridge
not too
too.
far from. Yeah,
Or
it
maybe
can last.
spray it. I think spray it with a little
Yeah.
water.
Some water.
I shall report to you on how it survives.
Okay.
Thank
Good.
you. All right.
Thank
Alright
you
then.
too.
Thanks, ladies.
Alrighty.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. It's a slow goodbye. All right.
Oh.
I see Conrad online saying he learned something. Can't figure out exactly what he learned, but he says, "Wow, I just learned something. 680,000 customers." But you know,
That was
yeah,
fascinating. Remember, there's a difference between customers and
and consumers.
Yes.
Yes. But remember, the customer is the account. The household might have 4 or 5 persons. Or so the number, I was looking at it and thinking, how does that relate to the population? But if you have 1 million people, or if you have 1 million households, or if you have 2 million households, your population is just based on how many persons are in a household.
Right.
And each household might have 1 account.
yeah. But that's true. But what I know, I don't want us to miss the consumers versus the customers.
I know, you always love that point. But,
When they said it, I
yeah,
go,
but a lot of consumers, they were talking then about the illegal
right,
connections.
the people, consumers,
Yeah, but
say,
this
so when
thing-
they come down, when
Yeah.
she was telling us the story that the person got so when they come down, they still got me
Yeah.
right.
So
Oh, geez.
680,000 customers. I don't know that we refuse to stand still and be counted. So I don't know how many households are in
They talk
Jamaica.
about that, in terms of the census. Where's that now? Because that
I
should
don't
have
know,
been completed.
I think the Statistical Institute is probably hoping nobody asks.
Yeah,
Do
we
not
won't
ask
ask
us
about the
census. Because-
No, because really, that is.
but yeah, you can count cattle easier than you count Jamaicans.
But that's
Because
unfortunate.
the
though.
cattle will allow themselves. We won't stay still to be counted.
No, it's unfortunate. I know it goes back to trust. Trust.
Does it ever leave trust?
It is that, it is so very, it's unfortunate, trust, and
You
so
know-
I use it.
you know,
and
first
then,
of
and
all-
then something never helped us. COVID never helped us at all.
We need to put Earl Brown in the naughty corner.
Company of all seasons, hot and
Hot
rain.
and rain.
It
Those
must
are the
be it must say hot and cold.
No, we don't have cold. Him say we only have sunshine and rain. It get hot or it rain a fall.
No, it
And
get
even when
cold.
rain a fall, sometimes it's still hot.
I recall.
I don't mind our single season.
I recall that we actually had snow in Jamaica. Do you remember there was snow in, I think it's Coleyville, there a place in Coleyville. It was so cold. No, it was
Oh,
snow.
I'm
man,
not
a
going
snow.
with you with the snow. I know we've had frost.
Frost, but a snow. A snow
We've
they
had
call it.
frost. Who call it snow?
The people that moved up there and said, this is snow. That was a report.
In flakes falling to the ground?
Yeah. That's
Anyway,
possible, but
it can be quite cold in Jamaica, please. 680,000 accounts is being emphasized. I actually think, I mean, the number of accounts should go with the number of households.
it is. It should.
And maybe not even households really, because in law, you can have 2 households in one structure.
You can.
Anyways, they have 680,000 accounts. But I love their IVR system.
No, it
it's
works.
one of the
It
best
works.
that I've heard.
It works for
described.
me because I was on it and I was trying to sort out the renovation of my
house.
house and I had to pay. I was trying to
Did
get
you go
something.
prepaid, by the way?
I didn't. I'd done postpaid and I left it up to my
Your tenant?
tenant to say what they will do, whether they'll go post or prepaid. I recommended it to them. I said, if you do prepaid, you can better manage what you're doing. But it still, because I had to do the whole contracting with them and what was happening. Yeah, so it is.
Oh, the ladies left and our energy dropped.
It does? No,
No, you don't miss them?
I miss them. I miss sunshine. And it was,
It's getting a little overcast now that they've left.
no, it's still
Now
a
we have
little
to
bit chilly.
return to.
Yeah.
Now we have to return to things Jamaican.
Yeah, and what's happening on the street.
I want to hear a word of what's happening on the street. Yes, because nomination day is usually very quiet, isn't it?
Are quite very lively, depending on what is happening.
You want to open your box
See,
and
I can see
and yes, since you
no,
you are such a man who like to share. All right. Before the ladies came and distracted us with their glorious presence, we were looking at what is called in the newspaper now as a vex vote.
a vex vote
Vex
for the St.
vote.
Thomas people. Now.
Yeah, but it's not just St. Thomas. I think vex votes going to give a lot of people victory in other places other than St. Thomas. But St. Thomas definitely. In fact, I feel like there are some places outside of St. Thomas where people's vexation over St. Thomas is going to affect their vote. Because really, it's been something else to see the conditions of the road that persons have had to deal with and to sort of understand that better management of that contract could have brought them some respite at an earlier time.
remember-
In fact, they're not even out of the woods yet, from what I hear.
No, they're not out of the woods
it's not
because
finished.
all right, opening, and I hear some people saying that we shouldn't open the road, but then there are drainage problems that have not been fixed, and I'm saying to myself, if people are saying if there's a drainage problem in terms of taking the excess water off the roads, before you know it, one of the things that destroys the roads in Jamaica is when there's not proper drainage. Because if I've seen roads that have been built over 50 years ago and they are still good roads. You know of any such road?
No, I'm
Yeah.
looking at you to wonder which one. Because
No
even
one-
some of
no
the
one-
fairly new roads.
No, I'm talking about
Yeah?
like in some city. The roads,
Okay.
that scheme
But
was put down.
I want to share a quote from the mayor of Morant Bay.
Who has come from
And there are
Mr.
some
Joe.
things he says in it that I think are instructive on how
The vex
how
voter.
people feel and how they respond to the efforts of their local government, any of their representatives. The first part of this article, written by Erica Virtue, senior Gleaner writer, puts paid to something that the Prime Minister himself was saying, that you need growth in the economy before you can get infrastructure like roads. Because everywhere else in the world, I believe, people are at one that good infrastructure is a prerequisite for growth.
That's
If
right.
you have good roads and certain facilities installed, it attracts business, it makes investment more fruitful, and it just motivates people to do better all around. It's not every expenditure for the benefit of the people that comes only after the wealth reach. There are some things that you're going to have to even borrow money to do it because those are drivers for growth. We at one?
Yeah.
And things like road, things like having
Garbage collection.
things like, well, clearly we don't believe with that in garbage collection, but there are some things, hospitals, education. You
And
have to have
services.
those in order to drive.
They work alongside the other things that are
Yeah,
happening.
they're the drivers, meaning them at the front.
And if
They're
people
not
are
in the
well, then
backseat chilling.
you have people who are productive.
Yeah. And health is one of them, because unhealthy people can't work hard. So it begins. Despite the massive road improvement program benefiting the underdeveloped parish of St. Thomas, Morant Bay. Pause here. St. Thomas is underdeveloped, yet you're spending a lot of money on road. That's not because of growth. That's because you want to put in infrastructure to drive growth.
And recent
Not saying Morant Bay don't deserve it, by the way, because I think they do. The mayor says the government's disregard for the residents and their livelihoods during the work process has caused disaffection with the electorate, and the opposition believes that disaffection will increase its showing due to what they call vexed votes. Now, we were joking about vexed money.
The ladies mentioned vexed money.
And I always thought it was women who had to understand vexed money. But you're telling me that as a father, you have to make sure your daughter has vexed money.
She must
be free to get vexed and leave, and not be dependent on anybody to get her home safely. So now we have the vexed vote. And I'm saying to Percival that this concept of vexed vote is going to be operative everywhere. Because when you see, I think there are some people who get vexed over the abuse they see in another place.
And
they themselves might not be suffering, but they see how much somebody else is suffering, and they say, no man, this government should do better.
And a lot of people are saying that,
But that's why the diaspora is so
and a lot of people are saying that
on our behalf.
You see this disregard, you see this issue with what has happened
No
with
respect.
the political ombudsman.
Yeah.
What is happening in a lot of areas. People are saying, no, you're just doing your thing. People are saying, civil society saying no. A lot of public saying no.
Even the criminals are saying no. And you're pressing on. You're in parliament. The parliamentary opposition is saying no. Can we have a more inclusive approach to this thing? And you just use your 1,000-pound gorilla weight and ram things through. Simply because you know that power under restraint is far more effective and has greater longevity than this naked brute force. I can do it, therefore. They are about to learn.
It's unfortunate.
All of us going to learn. So anyway, the PNP is shamelessly receiving and welcoming the vexed vote. That is not your ideal vote. Come on, let's think about it. I mean, you take any vote you get is really what this is boiling down to. But your ideal vote is one where people see you as the better choice or the best choice, where people see a clear alignment between your plans and your ideals and what they envisage for their country. It's really not the vexed vote that you're going for. That's not your prime achievement.
No,
but you then go and get plenty vexed votes, mind you.
It's a protest vote. Yeah.
But then the mayor continued to say that this is a piece, just an observation he made that interests me. He says that the level of disaffection is significant, and he claimed that supporters of the ruling JLP have offered their support to him, especially because of the advocacy he has provided on their behalf. So there's a point at which, despite how deep the tribal blood might flow, there's a point at which you just want your environment to be in proper order so you can function well. It don't matter whether you're JLP, PNP, UIC, or undecided. Anybody who steps to the plate and represent you, advocate for you, displays the leadership quality that you're looking for. So Mr. Hubert Williams says members of the JLP have appreciated his advocacy and have promised to support him.
You see, I remember I was saying something to you.
Yeah.
Radio personality. This is in 2016.
Yes.
Of action has been dragged before.
You gotta read it a little louder, my
was
brother.
sued for breaching contract. This is
which radio personality is that?
The person is running a mayor in Portmore.
so
Did you?
he's a
The
former
person,
broadcaster
yeah, he still is, and he's been sued.
sued for breaching contract.
Yeah.
Percy, you have to remember, that anybody can sue anybody.
Yeah,
You're being
being
sued.
don't mean anything.
You're being sued don't mean anything. It just means you're alive and doing something.
I'm a brother. I'm a sister.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Let's
though.
see. Well, the mayor is confident now that the voting pattern is gonna work for the PNP. So the mismanagement, this is what they have labeled. It's not that the project late, it's that it's been mismanaged.
Remember, the
see-
project was signed off on before, and then when the government changed, they went back to it and redesigned it. And I find that unfortunate because if and somebody can correct me, if the concept and the of the project was correct, why did the government go back and or just redraft
Did
the
they
whole
go back into contract? Because that's usually
that's what they did.
that's usually the case. You want to change the contractor and you can't just fire him because then the damages would be horrendous. So you end up just you revisit the contract, you terminate whatever is going on, and you change up the scope kind of in a very shallow way. And it's a whole new thing, and you go back again,
Why
and
do
the
we do
person
those things?
and the person who you want to get it can now get it.
Is that what happened?
I don't know. I'm just giving you a scenario. I don't know if that's what happened. But if the citizens believe that the contract was mismanaged, and by virtue of that, it continued for longer than it should, then you're going to have a warm time trying to tell them that all these delays were reasonable. That after a while, their pain overwhelm whatever arguments you're putting forward. And I think that happened some time ago, meaning that moment passed a long time with the St. Thomas Road situation. The Gleaner editorial has caught your eye, my brother.
ECJ blunders.
What are they saying? That the
foolish-
Electoral Commission should not be involved in the ombudsman business?
I agree. But I'm listening and I'm listening and I'm listening.
You're not finding too many people agreeing to it?
Yeah. And if you hear a lot of people saying that, what happens is that something yeah.
Well, says the Gleaner editor, it is exceedingly rare, if ever, that this newspaper has had cause to disagree with or criticize the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. So history has been made.
Yes.
They're being criticized by the Gleaner. But the ECJ has never before endorsed or declared its willingness to give expression to the government's bad idea of subsuming the political ombudsman in the commission, which brings us to our oft-repeated declaration about bad policy. What's worse than their formulation is their implementation. In that regard, Earl Jarrett, the chairman of the ECJ, and his fellow commissioners still have an 11th hour opportunity, if they have not done so as yet, to avoid being complicit in foisting a bad policy on Jamaicans and in the long term do harm to the commission. So the legislation has been passed. The Gleaner is trailing the triumphant you know, when the returning heroes come into town, and they have their entourage or their parade. The Gleaner is trailing it and crying, beware, beware. What you have done is not good for the institution itself or ultimately for Jamaica. But except for the bad motive behind it, I believe it can work, It can work for the Electoral Commission to have responsibility for that portfolio. You set up a separate department that deals with it. You staff it adequately, maybe by just bringing in the people who, what you want to be careful of is mixing the water.
Which is what I listen to Samoda.
Yes.
I listen to Bunting.
Yes.
And I think they have been former commissioners. And what they basically been saying, yes, we're in agreement that the political ombudsman only come into real work when elections are going on.
Yes, so it's
So therefore, you have the person in itself there, but
You have no work for them.
you give them administrative support through the electoral commission or somebody, some place. So because it's only in that time you have one place, you make complaints, and then they using staff which somebody else have. It could be integrity commission, it could be anybody to get the administrative support. That's what they were saying.
Well, to me, you're either doing it or you're not doing it. We don't need a political ombudsman to keep fair play during, or let's put it this way, you don't need a government-funded office to maintain fair play in the field during election campaign. You don't. Even that Citizens for Free and Fair Election group,
But
which
the political-
established itself and has some credibility,
Could do it.
could do it. You don't need to use taxpayers' money to maintain order between contestants. You don't.
Yeah, but then one of the complaints was that they referee, but they can't penalize people
That's why.
for bad behavior.
Okay, so that's why you don't need them. What you need, if you need anything at all, you need eligibility criteria under the Representation of the People's Act.
Right.
Make it a true representation of the People's Act, not a numbers game about how to fill out forms and run election, which
Right.
is all it does right now. You need clear statutory prescriptions in the appropriate instruments of law that sets the framework for how candidates behave. That's it. And,
if they misbehave.
and if they misbehave, the consequences that are there will flow. Then you need political parties who are knowledgeable about this framework and who are teaching and training and coaching their people on good behavior. The culture has to shift.
Okay.
And no ombudsman, however spontaneously they emerge, can shift the culture. Because by the time the ombudsman enters the field,
Done-
people are
it
already
done- it
into
done-
whatever them do.
it done ba-
It done
gone-
gone already. And you know.
Bad already from
Yeah.
morning. Okay.
Yeah. So the truth of it is, one of the things we need to stay away from as a developing country.
It's a little problem, man. Put somebody.
As you see a problem, you create something in the government. When would the government end? All of us would then be working for government. Because every time something happened, we created all kinds of institutions just like
we're
that.
just working
And
for
then
people.
those institutions become weaponized as political assassinators or assassins. They become useful now as agents of state terror, and they fall into disrepute, and you then try to bury them like what they're doing. It's because the ombudsman caused offense why the government turn on the office and trying to write it out. What they really want to do is write it off out of existence, because when you put it with the ECJ that have neither the talent nor the scope to deal with it, they're just gonna leave it there. And
Make
when
it
something
stay.
happen,
They just refer
Yeah.
it and then we make a thing. And then bring them into it.
Yeah.
It's that time again.
really?
It's that
9:30.
time again.
All right, we'll take our break. welcome back to the final segment of the morning's program. And yes, let me hold up my box and say thank you again. It's chocolates, everyone. Chocolates and roses. Um, and and one chocolate lover right here says the lovely kind. How you feel about chocolates?
I
Let me
love
see this.
chocolate.
And you got
Okay. A wedding, I think.
oh, it's your pen. Yeah, so thank you. It's not always that we get gifts. So we do appreciate the generosity. What were we talking about, Pastor Percival? Oh, you were looking again at the ferocity of the waves in Westmoreland. And being who we are, we cannot help but note that the ferocity of the waves is right up there with the ferocity of the unlawful activities. The killing of children.
Innocent people.
Yeah. The overall mayhem that is taking place in those communities, including beautiful Hanover, where the principal of a school has been arrested as being possibly complicit in the murder of the bursar in Hanover.
Oh, they arrested the principal?
Yes, they arrested the principal.
What is happening?
I mean, it's just beyond. Whew, you couldn't even make that up if you wanted to. So there are some things happening in the island. We have spoken about the connection between human behavior and certain events in nature. There's one school of thought that when the laws of God are broken repeatedly, it causes disquiet in the natural
It does.
realm,
Because
and you'll see the sea, you'll get earthquakes, you'll get all kinds of, unusual rainfall, spontaneous fires. It's like nature itself becomes restless. I was listening to someone speaking on it. I did not agree that the scripture she mentioned suggested all of that. But we do know that when laws are broken, they have a consequence both in the spiritual and in the natural realm. And we see it here. We see it in operation. If you think about it, no place is safe. Even if you say, okay, I'm not going to walk with cash, I'm going to keep my money in the bank, and as I need it, I use a card. Before you know it,
somebody else going to take it
somebody has spent off all your money. If you take it out and have it in your house, somebody tear down your door, and just like there's no safe harbor. And I believe it's a good note to end the morning on, just a return to what brought us into this program anyway. The reminder, the knowledge and awareness that there are rules that God has set for mankind to exist, to live peaceably, and how we should operate. And when we break them, consequences. And we're beginning to see them. And the reason that I'm very convinced on this point is because each time we put up an excuse for why something hasn't worked, like, let's say, with the bloodshed and the crime and violence, we say it's because the nation ungovernable, or because families are condoning and hiding the wrongdoers. And we say, okay, if we put in a SOE or a state of emergency or zones of special operations, and we block all the corridors and, arrest all the young men and lock them away. We do that, and it pops up somewhere else. And then when we have the whole island under lockdown, nature itself revolts. You get drought, you get famine, you get plague like the pandemic, you get the sea. Just what you showed there of that water just rushing through the place as if this is part of the sea now.
And then
Scary.
And the walls that they built, even in Negril, they said that they had pointed out to them that that thing is deteriorating. And so said, I see those 3 buses, the seawall does move and the buses are covered over. So
in no time, the truth is, I see there's like a headline about the Climate Resilience Fund. Oh, please, you better just call it an insurance rebuilding fund. If the place is not just left over to nature, because it's not everywhere is left in a condition where you can rebuild. And sometimes the cost of rebuilding mitigates against rebuilding.
If
So
you,
it just needs to be a climate compensation fund so people can move.
yeah, but even all right, if you go back to the very beginning,
Yeah.
when God set a order, a natural order, beginning of creation, and God set a natural order of how it be, and then we stepped out of what God has said, and then he cursed. This is what sin does, you know. He cursed the rebellion. He said, because you have rebelled, this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna become tough for you.
He cursed the land.
And it has continued. It continued. And that is why it says that creation is waiting for the manifestations of the sons of God. Because when man comes back in alignment to what God wants, the whole creation responds positively to it. And I think that is why in Revelation they see a new heaven and a new earth coming. You think there's going to be a new earth and a new heaven? So we can do what we want.
There's
but
no
at
not escaping.
Yeah.
We can't escape the reality of the Word of God and
Yeah,
the truth of it. And
because-
it imposes itself on us.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what we're seeing.
when in places like Colombia, there's somebody who actually did a documentary on when the innocent blood and then the Christians got together and prayed. The guy who led it eventually died. He was killed by the cartels. But then it caused a revival to break out, and even for the crops that came before the land wasn't producing, and you saw some humongous like pumpkin and something. Listen, because the Christians had repented on behalf of the nation, and the land responded to it in terms of the crops that came out of it. So
There's a lot of empirical data to confirm what you're saying, even outside of the Colombia experience. Before we close the program, it's 9:43 a.m. and in a short while we will be heading on our weekend. I just want to speak a word of condolence to the
Justice.
family of the late Justice C. Dennis Morrison,
Good man,
OJ,
good
CD,
man, good man, good
KC, former president of the Court of Appeal of Jamaica, a very frequent visitor to the Ligani Club. In fact, I know he and Janet were members. Wow, what can one say? We know that life on this earth is not eternal. So there is a time when all of us depart. And Dennis was of an age when his departure is not a shock or a surprise to anyone. He had lived a full life, I guess some might say. He has passed on social media, all around the place. You would see information concerning the recognition of his life and the various events that are being staged. I think the Court of Appeal is sitting tomorrow. And then I know that
moment of silence.
his funeral service, which is I think on the 22nd of February. I won't be here, but I'm hoping to participate in one of the events which will honor his life. He
And
was
memory.
just a fantastic person.
Individual man of
I
integrity.
mean, beyond his skill and academic accomplishments, he was a fine individual, so personable and caring and committed to his craft and gentle in spirit. Oh my goodness. I know that he will be missed. I know he will be missed. So, certainly my personal condolences to his wife and his children who are no doubt in a lot of pain because he was just that kind of person. Even if he had lived this time, there are some people who at 1,000 years, it's still too soon. You don't want to see them go. I believe he was
But
one
that's his
such.
legacy.
Yeah,
Legacy that goes ahead of him.
really a great guy. What I could say. So that's it. Mr. Dennis Morrison has gone home. And one of the things that struck me, we see Justice Panton, who is a former president of the Court of Appeal also. We see him serving so ably
I see.
at the Integrity Commission, and I see him being appointed to other places. So you know that there is a wealth of experience and knowledge that resides in these retired persons, and it is a loss to the country. I mean, Dennis Morrison dying, I said, oh, that's like a brilliant mind, which I pray that before he departed, as many persons who could draw from him have done so that, as you say, the legacy will speak for itself. So, farewell, Dennis, and to his family, our condolences. Certainly, my condolences.
And as we leave, and we close the time, I today's nomination day. Today is the 8th day of February. Election day is on the 26th day of February, 8 and 8. We started by saying it really begins with new beginnings, and I just encourage us as we are here as individuals, as Jamaicans, let's vote on issues. Let us remind our leaders, even as we go to vote for them at the local government, which is very powerful in terms of a lot of our issues are really local, that indeed we call our leaders, those who are coming up for election, to be elected to serve us, to be people of integrity, integrity, people who believe and understand that they serve under the delegated authority of God. And his throne is built upon righteousness and justice, and that is how we are expecting whoever is elected to run the different municipal councils, whoever is elected to serve as the mayor of Portmore and the municipal council of Portmore. Just be reminded that God is looking and God is watching, and you are to be held accountable for what God is doing in your own lives.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Back in the studio, Lloydie. Have a great weekend. And right here at the Ligony Club, thank you to our sponsors, to our producer, Mr. Lawrence, and Pastor Percival as the co-host. You all have a good weekend. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Shalom.